Championship windows don't stay open forever. The pieces are moving, the roster is evolving, and sometimes the difference between a deep playoff run and another heartbreaking exit comes down to decisions made in crucial moments. Welcome to Lions News Fan Report, your home for the latest updates, breaking developments, and insider analysis on our beloved Detroit Lions. I'm here to bring you something that could reshape how we think about this team's championship aspirations. And trust me when I say that what I'm about to lay out for you has the potential to be absolutely franchise-altering. Stick with me, because the direction this conversation is heading will have you rethinking everything you thought you knew about our offensive identity. Let me paint you a picture of where we are right now. The Lions have established themselves as legitimate contenders in the NFC, winning back-to-back division titles and building a roster that strikes fear into opponents every single week. We've got an explosive offense led by Jared Goff, a running game that can dominate when it needs to, and weapons all over the field. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night, and I know it keeps Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes up at night too. Championship teams are built in the trenches, and while our offensive line was once the crown jewel of this franchise, we've seen some concerning developments that need to be addressed if we're serious about hoisting that Lombardi trophy. Christian Mahogany going down with a broken ankle in Week 9 against Minnesota wasn't just another injury. It exposed something that many of us have been quietly worried about for weeks now. Our depth along the interior offensive line isn't what it was during those dominant years when we were steamrolling defenses and creating running lanes that looked like highways. Campbell himself said Mahogany would be out a long time, and while the team quickly signed Jack Conley to the practice squad, we all know that's a developmental move, not an immediate solution for a team with Super Bowl aspirations. We're looking at guys like Tristan Colon and Kingsley Eguakun potentially stepping into significant roles, and while I respect their work ethic and potential, asking them to anchor our interior line in crucial playoff games is a lot to ask. Now, here's where things get really interesting, and this is where I want you to pay close attention, because the implications of what I'm about to discuss could be massive. The Cleveland Browns, our division rivals who are clearly in rebuild mode, have been shopping some serious talent. We're not talking about role players or developmental projects. We're talking about established elite-level guards who have been to multiple Pro Bowls and have proven themselves as some of the best at their positions in the entire league. Joel Bitonio and Wyatt Teller are names that should make any offensive line coach's eyes light up, and the fact that they were potentially available should have every championship-caliber team's attention. Let me break down what we're dealing with here, because the numbers in film don't lie. Joel Bitonio is a 4-time Pro Bowler and 2-time first-team All-Pro who has been the anchor of Cleveland's offensive line since 2014. The man has started 155 games in his career, providing consistency and elite-level play year after year. He's 33 years old, which means he's in that sweet spot where experience meets execution. This isn't a guy learning on the job or figuring things out. This is a technician who understands leverage, hand placement, and how to neutralize some of the nastiest defensive tackles in the game. His pass protection grade consistently ranks among the league's best, and in an offense where protecting Goff is paramount to our success, having someone like Bitonio would be transformative. Then you've got Wyatt Teller, who at 29 years old is entering his prime years. Teller is a mauler in the run game, the kind of guard who can create movement at the point of attack and open up rushing lanes that make running backs look like superstars. He's been to 2 Pro Bowls and was named second-team All-Pro in 2020. When you watch him on film, you see a guard who plays with violence and aggression, which aligns perfectly with the physical smash-mouth identity that Dan Campbell wants this team to embody. Teller's ability to pull and get to the second level is exactly what our zone-running scheme needs, and pairing him with our current personnel would give us one of the most formidable interior lines in football. Imagine for a second what our offensive line could look like with both Bitonio and Teller anchoring the interior. You'd have Penei Sewell continuing his development into one of the league's premier right tackles, Taylor Decker holding down the left side with his veteran presence, and Frank Ragnow at center doing what he does best. Now, slot in Bitonio and Teller at the guard positions, and suddenly you're looking at a unit that could legitimately stake a claim as the best in the NFL. The protection schemes would be elite, the running game would become nearly unstoppable, and the confidence that Goff would have knowing he's got that kind of fortress around him would elevate our entire offense to another level. Let's talk about the strategic implications of making this kind of move. The Lions have shown they're not afraid to be aggressive when they see an opportunity to upgrade the roster. Last year's trade deadline saw us make moves to bolster our defense. And while this year's deadline passed without major action, free agency and potential trades are always on the table. Brad Holmes has built his reputation on being calculated but bold, and securing 2 Pro Bowl guards from a division rival would send a statement to the entire league. Detroit is all in on winning now. It would also address one of the few question marks remaining on our roster and give Campbell the kind of personnel flexibility he needs to implement his full offensive playbook without worrying about protection breakdowns or inability to establish the run. From a financial standpoint, this is where things get complicated but not impossible. Bitonio's contract carries a significant cap hit, but with the way contracts are structured in today's NFL, creative accounting can make almost anything work if both sides are motivated. Teller's deal is more manageable, and combining the two might require some restructuring of existing contracts or pushing money into future years. But for a team in our championship window, that's a calculation worth making. You don't let financial concerns prevent you from securing the pieces that could be the difference between a conference championship game appearance and a Super Bowl victory. The draft capital required would likely be substantial. We're talking about 2 established Pro Bowlers, and Cleveland would rightfully demand premium compensation. A second-round pick for each might be the starting point, possibly with additional mid-round selections thrown in depending on how negotiations unfold. Some fans might balk at giving up draft picks, but here's the reality. Draft picks are theoretical, while Bitonio and Teller are proven commodities. When you're competing for a championship, you trade futures for present excellence, and both of these guards represent immediate, significant upgrades that would pay dividends this season and beyond. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. The trade deadline has passed, which means any potential deal would need to wait until the offseason or involve some creative maneuvering that I'm not privy to. But the beauty of speculation is that it allows us to envision what could be, and based on everything I've seen from this front office, I genuinely believe that upgrading the offensive line will be a priority moving forward. Whether that means pursuing Bitonio and Teller specifically, or targeting other elite guards in free agency, the need is clear and the solution is out there. Think about what this would mean for David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Both backs are talented, but their effectiveness is directly tied to the quality of blocking they receive up front. With Bitonio and Teller clearing paths, we'd see more explosive runs, more consistent 4- and 5-yard gains on first down that keep us ahead of the chains, and more opportunities to control the clock in crucial moments. Our play-action game would become even more dangerous because defenses would have to respect the run, creating one-on-one opportunities for Amon-Ra St., Brown, Jamison Williams, and Sam Laporta downfield. The entire offense becomes more dynamic and unpredictable when you can win in the trenches. The impact on Goff's performance cannot be overstated either. Jared has played exceptionally well this season, but even the best quarterbacks need time to let plays develop and receivers to get open. With elite guard play, Goff would have cleaner pockets, more time to survey the field, and fewer instances of interior pressure collapsing the pocket before he can step into throws. His completion percentage would likely tick up, his turnover rate would decrease, and his overall efficiency would reach new heights. We've seen what Goff can do with adequate protection. Imagine what he could accomplish with elite protection. I know some of you are thinking about chemistry and integration. These are fair concerns. Bringing in 2 new starters on the offensive line mid-season, or even in the off-season, requires time for the unit to gel, develop timing, and understand each other's tendencies. But here's the counterpoint. Both Bitonio and Teller are seasoned professionals who have played together in Cleveland and understand how to communicate and work in tandem. They're not raw rookies learning the position. They're polished veterans who could integrate relatively quickly, especially under the guidance of our offensive line coach, and with Ragnow's leadership at center helping coordinate protections. The competitive advantage this would give us in the NFC cannot be ignored. The conference is loaded with talented teams, and the margin between winning and losing in playoff games often comes down to execution in critical moments. Having an offensive line that can impose its will on opponents in the fourth quarter, that can sustain long drives when we need to control the clock, and that can protect our quarterback when the game is on the line would be invaluable. Look at previous Super Bowl champions, and you'll consistently find elite offensive line play as a common denominator. Detroit has the skill position talent. Adding elite guard play would complete the formula. From a cultural standpoint, Bitonio and Teller fit what Campbell is building here. Both are known as hard workers, team-first guys who show up every day and do their jobs without drama or distractions. They're respected by teammates and coaches, and bringing that kind of veteran leadership to our locker room would only enhance the already strong culture we've established. Young players would have additional mentors to learn from, and the standard of excellence would be reinforced daily. So, here's what it comes down to. The Detroit Lions are in a championship window right now. We have the talent, the coaching, and the organizational support to compete for a Super Bowl. The question is whether we'll do everything possible to maximize this opportunity. Pursuing Joel Bitonio and Wyatt Teller, whether through trade or free agency, represents the kind of aggressive win-now move that championship organizations make. It addresses a clear need, upgrades a position of concern, and gives us the best possible chance to achieve our ultimate goal. I'm optimistic about where this team is headed. I believe in Brad Holmes' vision. I trust Dan Campbell's leadership, and I know that our roster has the foundation to compete with anyone. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this is a conversation worth having, and I read every single comment. Looking at everything we've discussed, the path forward is clear. Detroit needs to continue building in the trenches, and whether that means Bitonio and Teller specifically, or other elite options, the front office must prioritize this area. The talent is there, the opportunity exists, and our window is now. Let's make sure we do everything possible to bring a championship home to Detroit. If you want to stay updated on all the latest Lions news, rumors, and analysis, make sure you're subscribed to Lions News Fan Report and hit that notification bell. I'm here every day bringing you the content you need to stay informed and engaged with everything happening with our team. Like this video if you found it valuable, and share it with fellow Lions fans who want the inside scoop. Until next time, let's keep believing and keep pushing for that championship. 1. Pride.